This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
When you check out at the pharmacy, you see the journey from idea to medicine, thanks to our intellectual property system, or IP for short. IP safeguards inventions, like a new way to prevent seizures or lower cholesterol. And IP supports competition from other brands, then lower cost generics, which are 90% of prescriptions filled in the US. Innovation, competition, lower costs, thanks to IP. Learn more at phrma.org/IP works wonders.
Hey, I'm Candice Lim.
And I'm Kate Lindsay, and you're listening to ICYMI.
In case you missed it.
Slate's podcast about internet culture.
And we are starting today's episode with an update on the American woman in Pakistan, because guess what? She is now the American woman in Dubai.
It is Onija Season 2. When we recorded last week, the last confirmed piece of information about Onija Andrew Robinson, who had flown to Pakistan back in October to meet up with a 19-year-old who she was allegedly catfishing. The last update on all of that was that she had boarded a flight from Karachi, Pakistan to NYC. That flight, however, seems to have possibly had a layover in Dubai, or it was via Dubai.
Uh-huh. And an employee for Time. They posted a series of Instagram stories and a TikTok saying that she was on a flight from Dubai to JFK, and Onija was allegedly on that flight with her. Apparently, Onija was allegedly escorted off the plane before takeoff. The pilot got on the loudspeaker to alert the passengers that someone was escorted for quote unquote security reasons. I mean, this passenger even posted a photo of what looks like Onija getting escorted off, but it was a little too far away to actually make out her face.
Vibe magazine is one of the few outlets that is reporting that Onija has been spotted in Dubai. There are tweets and videos showing her walking around the streets of what looks like Dubai, selfies she's taken with people. But again, actual confirmation of all of this is still hard to come by.
Yeah, and again, something to remember is that someone who claims to be Onija's son says that she suffers from bipolar disorder. So it was really important that she was getting the care and support that she needed whilst in Karachi.
What is confusing to me, at least, was it seemed like the whole goal of this was get Onija home. But then why did she get off the plane in Dubai? It was, if she was indeed escorted off, what was the reason? I thought Karachi had got her all set up with this and those were her demands. But I guess Karachi was just get her out of Pakistan. And then once she's crossed the border, we wipe our hands of this. We're done.
Yeah. NIMBY vibes. Also, I don't know about you, but whenever I get escorted off a plane, I pretty much immediately try to rebook the next flight. And it seems like she has left the perimeters of the airport. And so the question is, if Onija is loose in Dubai, is this just going to happen again in Dubai? Okay, is she going to be I've always been from Dubai, I'm rebuilding Dubai the same way she was in Pakistan? It's very Sex in the City too. I'm scared.
Oh God, I hope it is not Sex in the City too. But yeah, so I was likening it to sort of the post-credits scene of a Marvel movie, which is, you're watching the credits, you think everything has been ended and resolved, and then as you're leaving the theater, you look back, they're playing a clip, and the last thing you see in this case is these clips of Onija in Dubai, and then it just cuts to black, and it's wait, what? Get Onija home. I thought that's what happened.
Yeah. And that is the latest for now. We will obviously check in if we have more to say, but I would now like to turn to Onija's hometown of New York City, because it turns out another American icon is in distress, and we're going to talk about it. But first, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about how Bon Appétit is facing yet another cancellation, this time at the hands of everyone's favorite chef in the Hamptons, Wishbone Kitchen.
Not the dog.
Not the dog. It's always fun to dive into the latest rumors, like who's dating who, and who will be on the next season of our favorite show. Well, here's one rumor to squash: the idea that Discover isn't widely accepted. Truth is, Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. That means it's accepted basically anywhere across the country. Don't pay attention to every rumor out there, but remember, it does pay to discover, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. It's always fun to dive into the latest rumors, like who's dating who, and who will be on the next season of our favorite show. Well, here's one rumor to squash: the idea that Discover isn't widely accepted. Truth is, Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. That means it's accepted basically anywhere across the country. Don't pay attention to every rumor out there, but remember, it does pay to discover, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Hey there! If you love our podcast, then maybe you should consider subscribing to Slate Plus to immediately unlock bonus episodes. You'll access ad-free listening across all your favorite Slate podcasts, including bi-weekly bonus episodes of this show. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts by clicking Try Free at the top of our show page, or visit slate.com/ICYMI Plus to get access wherever you listen. And we're back. So, Kate, sometimes you and I are on different corners of the internet. I told you about Montoya Por Favor. You told me about Onisia. But today, this drama is our Venn diagram, because you and I were both on this right away.
Right. This video from Wishbone Kitchen, a.k.a. Meredith Hayden, it was the first TikTok I saw of the day.
So Bon Appetit launched a new video series today based on dinner parties. And guess what it's called?
Now, for those who don't know, Meredith Hayden is like the Ina Garten of TikTok. She got her start making these daily videos as like a private chef in the Hamptons. A lot of other private chefs in the Hamptons, a whole universe kind of spawned off from that. And she herself grew an empire. She has a newsletter, she has a cookbook coming out, and crucially, she has a YouTube series.
Yes. And so in this TikTok, Meredith accuses Bon Appetit of stealing her video series name, idea, graphic design concept, and theme colors for Dinner with Friends, which is a YouTube series that she, Meredith, first published in January of 2024. Bon Appetit just announced a Dinner with Friends series that also uses pink and red colors. It has the same dinner party concept. In the caption, they said, "Hop on the group chat to see who is free Friday." Meredith's newsletter, it's called The Group Chat.
And Meredith's video where she, calls this all out has a lot of juicy tidbits. And I think she's especially mad because, number one, she actually applied for a job at Bon Appetit. She previously worked at Vogue, and she had applied for 2 years and she was rejected. And so she kind of finds it funny that they wouldn't employ her, but they would, I guess, have a very similar, some would say exact same idea. Another thing she pointed out was that a commenter was like, check your subscription list name, see if it matches anyone on their team. They're kind of being like, is anyone from Bon Appetit reading your newsletter? And Meredith responded to the comment being like, confirming they follow me. So, there's kind of a direct line between the two ideas. But before we dive in further, Candice, where do you stand on Miss Wishbone?
I love Meredith. I watch her YouTube videos, which I think are really cute and fun, but I am definitely like a daily consumer of her TikTok. I get them the second they post. I really love her like alt Finsta TikTok at Meredith_Hayden, where I would say it's like the place she posts like non-SpawnCon stuff, but she spills like good tea on there. And so I know everything about her Hamptons house, her dog. I know that she just tore her ACL. I'm Wishbone pilled, some may say.
I am not like, a dedicated follower like that, but I like her too. I know she gets her fair share of snark like most other creators do, and also more on that later. But to me, I don't understand that. She is totally sweet, inoffensive. She has great taste, and she's really talented.
And I guess the other question is, Kate, how do you feel about Bon Appetit right now?
Oh, man. So, okay, there are some Bon Appetit recipes, I should say, that are my go-tos. I open them up every time, for vodka sauce, Bon Appetit all the way. They don't really do this anymore, but a section that they do have still kind of is called Basically, which is just really straightforward recipes and, no bells and whistles. And the vodka sauce is from that. But Bon Appetit, like so many things, kind of imploded in 2020. So what happened is it started with a photo of then editor-in-chief Adam Rappaport that food writer Tammy Teclamariam posted on Twitter. It was Rappaport at a Halloween party in what appears to be brownface. And once this surfaced, it opened the floodgates for current employees who, I guess, were having issues at Bon Appetit regarding race. They finally were kind of used this as a peg to just come on out with it. For instance, Sola El-Wayley posted on Instagram stories that while she was frequently doing on-camera work, it was only her white counterparts who were getting paid.
Right, because at this time, Bon Appetit kind of had like their own roster of in-house influencers.
And my sister would kill me for saying this. And so this is a good test of whether or not she listens to the podcast. But pre-cancellation, she once saw Alex Delaney, who was a Bon Appetit sort of personality. She saw him in Philly and she approached him and got a photo with him. And I remember she was so proud and shared it around.
Okay, I'm actually so shocked that you brought up Alex Delaney because I also used to kind of have like a crush on him a little bit. He was the youngest one, right? He was the little brother. I like used to watch his Balthazar, like Claire Savitz, Molly Baz videos. I mean, I loved him until I didn't because Alex Delaney was one of them. There was also Sola, Molly Baz, Priya Krishna, Rick Martinez, Gabby Melian, Carla, Lolly, Music, Claire Savitz, like all of these staff members who made more occasional appearances. And they were kind of all in this cohort. People loved them.
Yeah, and they either kind of the names you said all quit or took a step back, or in the case of Delaney, as we kind of alluded to, were called out themselves. He had other past comments of his that were kind of racist and homophobic resurface. He has been able to come back from that. He's kind of this independent NYC food figure. Unfortunately, what that means is he's doing a lot of DJing.
As we all do once we get exposed.
The canceled Bon Appetit employee to DJ pipeline has started.
Exactly. To possible Summer House member. I'm just spreading rumors. I'm sorry. I'm just spreading rumors.
Okay, yeah, no, float it. I'd love it.
After this mass exodus, Bon Appetit tried relaunching with a new cast of video characters, promising to do better. It's been like 4 years, maybe more than 4 years. And I just have to say, I do not feel like BA content is hitting the same. Like pre-2020, test kitchen videos, they were pulling in millions of views. And now they will have certain videos pop up, but the views are more likely to be in the like hundreds of thousands.
I think this could be because at the same time, a lot of these Bon Appetit faves were leaving. TikTok was rising, and that kind of meant this whole new cast of independent creators were taking their place. I mean, even people like Sola and Molly and Claire, they went independent. But then you have these new faces like Meredith. Meredith is really now one of Bon Appetit's competitors.
Yeah. And it's interesting because thinking about now, I could see Dinner with Friends as one of BA's like many attempts to get a younger demo back into their feed, which is interesting considering the Test Kitchen was also kind of like a series meant to draw on younger YouTube audiences. Hot take, BA, maybe just like stop with the videos. But the Test Kitchen worked because they really sold this idea that like their staff were friends with each other. They were popping into each other's videos. They were friends with us parasocially. And then you hear behind the scenes that people of color were not getting paid the same rates as Brad Leone or Chris Morocco, and that their EIC put on brownface at a Halloween party and things got ugly. And I don't know. I think Bon Appetit was rightly taken to task for all of that.
I think they've lost that credibility as an institution for many reasons. But I think this happening helped hasten the way that these big institutions are losing their credibility. And it makes independent creators like Meredith feel more authentic. And so that's likely why the reaction to Meredith's video has gone the way it has. Lots more to talk about, but first, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about how the internet, including Snark Reddit, is rallying behind Meredith, and what trademark lawyers are predicting for the battle of BA versus WK.
Wishbone Kitchen.
Not the dog.
I can say to my new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, hey, find a keto-friendly restaurant nearby and text it to Beth and Steve. And it does, without me lifting a finger. So I can get in more squats anywhere I can. 1, 2, 3.
Will that be cash or credit?
Credit. 4.
Galaxy S25 Ultra, the AI companion that does the heavy lifting so you can do you. Get yours at Samsung.com. Compatible with select apps. Requires Google Gemini account. Results may vary based on input. Check responses for accuracy.
This episode is brought to you by Atlassian. Atlassian makes the team collaboration software that powers enterprise businesses around the world, including over 80% of the Fortune 500. With Atlassian's AI-powered software like Jira, Confluence, and Loom, you'll have more time to do the work that matters. In fact, Atlassian customers experience a 25% reduction in project duration per year. Unleash the potential of your team at Atlassian.com. Atlassian.
Build a routine with Ollie that supports your wellness needs, like getting your daily vitamins and minerals with Ollie's multi-gummies, or keeping your mood upbeat with all the vitamin D in Hello Happy. Give your gut health some support with probiotics, and wake up feeling refreshed after taking Ollie Sleep. Do wellness on your terms. Find Ollie at a Walmart or Target near you or at ollie.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
And we're back. So, Kate, what's been most interesting to me about this entire saga isn't just the drama, but I would say the reactions to the drama.
I didn't even finish Meredith's video before I closed out of TikTok, opened up Instagram, went straight to Bon Appetit's comments.
Yeah, you were like, shots fired, and I must go see the wreckage, of course. And it's interesting because you went to the comments section of Bon Appetit. I immediately went to Reddit because I was really prepared for Reddit to just be filled with like a lot of vitriol or like accusing Meredith of being whiny and ungrateful. And I have to say, I am really surprised, if not shocked, by how much they are supporting Meredith. I think this is the first time in a really long time that places like our Foodie Snark, our NYC Influencer Snark are on Meredith's side, because as a hardcore peruser of both subreddits, this is huge. These are two places that are so hard on her for things that I find occasionally a bit unfairly vile. They've accused her of like face-tuning her pics. They talk about her weight. They call her tone deaf. And if NYC Influencer Snark is on your side against a big bad like Bon Appetit, it says a lot about who is probably in the right.
Right. The support is universal. Like this, just a sampling of Bon Appetit's comment section. There are comments like justice for Wishbone Kitchen. And then they had pinned the video on their page. And one of the comments was they pinned it because they just don't care. This is the most engagement their stuffy magazine has had since their last scandal. And another one was like, this is disgraceful. Be better. Sending this to all my aunties and my mama because they're your real target audience. Speaking of shots fired. But, but the person who I also feel for in this is Kendra Vaculin, who is the host of the Dinner Party series, because her comment section is also a mess.
Yeah, and I'm not really familiar with Kendra, who I just feel like I should note her Instagram is Kendra. But I go on her Insta and I think her comments are being flooded a bit unfairly. I've been seeing things like, you are an accomplished professional woman. You don't need to steal anyone's work. This is pretty bad. Literally cancel it before you get sued. 24 hours and still no response to the Wishbone Kitchen backlash. Girl, apologize and rebrand. The longer this goes on, the worse it looks for you. Ugh.
Yeah, they're coming at her hard. And I just want people to hear me out on this. And thankfully, I have the microphone and no one can interrupt me except for Candice.
I will hear you out, yes.
Yeah. So with this kind of rise of creator and influencer culture, it feels like we approach a lot of things through that lens of like apology videos, responses. And so because Kendra is the host, we are used to seeing someone as the face of something and thinking that they are responsible for it, because that's the case with most independent creators. But Bon Appetit is sort of an old media institution, and that's not how it works. So like the same way that writers and journalists often aren't responsible for the headlines that go on their pieces, I highly doubt that Kendra was really that involved in the creative branding of this whole thing. I imagine it went how most things in digital media go, which is that the concept was created and planned independently of her, and then she was kind of brought in as the talent. And she pretty much liked a comment to that effect on her own Instagram.
Right.
And so I would just say, when we're trying to figure out who to yell at here, the person responsible is whatever higher up or employee on the creative team didn't Google the name of the show before running with it.
Yeah. And, you know, it might be worse than just forgetting to Google, too. Carla Lawley Music, who was one of those former BA stars who ended up leaving, she commented on Wishbone Kitchen's IG. And this is what she said. So here's a cynical POV that my gut says is probably closest to the truth. They knew you used that title. They knew what your branding looked like, and they did it anyway. That's how much they care. They don't care. I could be wrong, but I think they DGAF, which is fucked up.
That also wouldn't surprise me. This is something I've noticed as an independent journalist, which is these big media institutions, despite what we can see with our own eyes, they do not see independent creators as competitors. And so when there's an overlap, they don't care. It's because of this outdated assumption that they have more power than someone like Meredith, which in the court of public opinion and in these comment sections, I would argue is not true.
Yeah. And like what this really is another instance of BA neglecting its own creators. I mean, have they even responded?
They've kind of responded. It's buried in the comments, which is telling all on its own. But they wrote, at BA, we've been dreaming up ways to cook, dine, entertain, and tell stories across platforms for decades. So noting there this idea that they are more powerful because they are more established.
Right.
Then they continue, dinner with friends is a common phrase, one our brands have used over many years, and we believe there's room for multiple ways to engage with it. This story is the latest in our ongoing coverage of entertaining and gathering. So my takeaway from reading this, I don't know if this is the case, but to me it sounds like they're saying, we have been here longer, we are Bon Appetit, back off.
Ugh, yeah. I mean, off the bat, I kind of hated this because it's not even an IG story. It's not a statement. It doesn't even get caption treatment. They just wrote this in the comments, which shows that they are acknowledging they know that there is some discourse. They understand that Wishbone Kitchen is coming for them, but they don't even want to like put their feet in the sand and be like, we're sticking with it. Instead, they're just trying to like get lost in the comment sauce. And here's the thing. Here's what I'll give them. Sure. No one owns the phrase dinner with friends. You and I, we have dinner with friends constantly. But I feel like this comment, this like pseudo statement, but not really, I feel like that is just such a purposeful misread of what the issue really is.
Right. Like there's so many things that are not technically flat out wrong and illegal, but are still annoying to do. Like, you know, if you Google dinner with friends and you see dinner with friends by Wishbone Kitchen, sure, you have every right to still do it yourself, but that doesn't make it not, you know, shitty.
Yeah.
And I think why it's shitty because, you know, they do cite the power they have as a brand. And part of that power and part of that legacy, you know, at least with how Google works now, is that when you Google dinner with friends, it is likely that Bon Appetit will supersede Meredith in the Google results.
Right.
And that's like a second hit on Meredith here. But I guess I don't know if that's what she's concerned with. What do we know what she wants from all of this?
It's a good question. Obviously, I have not talked to Meredith recently, but I have to believe that she came forward with this because she had a real reason to like speak on it. You know, she has TikTok on her side, Reddit. An unlikely ally is also on her side. And she may not have like the strongest legal case against Bon Appetit if she wanted to go there. But I wonder if the best case scenario is that like Bon Appetit issues a public apology that is not in the Instagram comments and they like cancel the series, or maybe they like change the name and color. But the thing is, like, do you think they would even do that?
They're not in my ear. I'm not in theirs. But I would say with 99% confidence, they will never cancel the series.
Yeah.
If they do, that would be a really significant moment for the creator economy and like this admission about how the power imbalance is not quite as imbalanced anymore. But I just imagine they won't unless they're somehow like legally forced to.
Yeah. And I think this brings us to the most fascinating symptom of this fight, which is my For You page is now flooded with like trademark lawyers jumping in with their takes. I mean, I saw a good TikTok that I liked from a user named Kendra. She's not a lawyer, but she does work in social media and PR. And she was talking about how she thinks that Meredith probably doesn't have a case because, like we said, the phrase dinner with friends, so commonplace to the point that like I looked it up on justia.org and the trademark dinner with friends in all caps, it was filed in like 1999. And so another thing is that Meredith can't really own a color scheme. This is the whole like red text on pink background thing. Condé Nast, I want to believe they have a legal counsel team that probably knew that this was legally okay. And another good point Kendra makes is that when you work in social media, part of your job is to just be like constantly worried about backlash and posting things that make people mad. And in this day and age, the court of public opinion is basically more powerful than anything legal anyway. That's something she said. And so to her, she thinks that BA's social/PR teams should have done a closer Google check just to see if any red flags came up, if Wishbone Kitchen fans would catch the similarities, and maybe that's what they should have done instead of, you know, being in the comments.
I agree. I think, you know, it's something that I feel like anytime I have an article idea, no matter how excited I am, I know I have to Google it. I have to make sure it hasn't been done. And it should go for all types of creators. I think I saw an actual trademark lawyer on TikTok named Veronica who works with content creators. And she said that filing a trademark doesn't mean anyone can't use the name. It just means you can't use the name with the same purpose. And if you registered the trademark, a lawyer could send a cease and desist to whomever you're accusing of trying to use a trademark. You could go to court. You could sue someone for trademark infringement. But you have to register the trademark in the first place. And Meredith, as far as we know, did not do that. So she doesn't really have a legal leg to stand on. It's, you know, it falls under something that's a little sus, but not illegal.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm seeing like comments across a few TikToks being like, Dinner with Friends was trademarked in 2023 by an NYC event company called Dinner with Friends NYC. There was like an LA creator named Lorena Flores that said she also has a series called Dinner with Friends that started in 2021.
And now I feel like is the perfect time to announce that I will be starting a series called Dinner with Friends. I'm just
amazing. And then I will be starting a series called Private Chef in the Hamptons, of course.
Oh,
of course.
Yes.
But as I'm parsing through all these comments and all these TikTok lawyers, obviously, can I bring to you one comment that did make me laugh amidst this battle?
Absolutely.
Someone wrote, "Shame on board Apple Queef. They are colonizers." And they have a point.
Bored apple queef. It's the new bone apple tea.
And like, while that was really fun, I will say there is actually some really interesting stuff going on here because after going through all the commentary that's flooding my For You page, Kendra made a really good point that kind of illuminated something for me, which is that something can be legally okay, but socially and ethically not. And just because people are assholes and they do bad things, it doesn't necessarily mean they did something illegal. And obviously this brings me to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, because obviously that's on everyone's minds. I think that situation is so fraught because there's just lawsuits up and down the board. It's confusing. It's exhausting. And it all started when Blake Lively accused Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment, which is illegal. But then when we get to Justin allegedly hiring publicists to launch a smear campaign, bad. Him sending weird voice memos that we had to play on the show.
I literally had forgotten about the weird voice memo. You've just said those words
really,
to me right now.
Really, it's not stuck in your dreams. Interesting. And then like Ryan Reynolds getting involved. Not great, ever. But aside from the sexual harassment claims Blake Lively made, are these things that Justin did technically illegal?
It is not yet illegal for Ryan Reynolds to get involved with things.
Right. It should be. In fact, we're talking to terrorist Ryan Reynolds tariff. He's Canadian. Anyway, here's the thing, though. Like, all these things are technically not illegal. And therefore, it makes sense to me that Wishbone Kitchen used social media first before going to a lawyer, because I think she's smarter than this. She knows there's a good chance she doesn't have a case. It's the same reason why Justin Baldoni allegedly launched a social media smear campaign first before trying to even sue Blake, because even if he doesn't win in court, he could win in the preservation of his reputation and thereby the destruction of Blake's. And with Blake and Justin, look, Justin is suing Blake and Ryan for $400 million. He might get some of that, but it will not rectify who was the bigger asshole, because that's what Reddit is for. That's what social media is for, not the court of law.
And I think when you are wronged by, to use a term that you were using, which I love, a big bad, it is really hard and daunting to, feel justified or that it's worth getting a lawyer to file a lawsuit against them. But I would say that that is what those institutions are kind of banking on when, not necessarily in this case, but when the line is skirted a little bit like that. But I would also say this is a check-in on the power of influencers. And I think it reveals that influencers have a bit more power than we think, or definitely more power than a media institution like Bon Appetit or Bon Apple Queef might.
Yeah. And I think Wishbone Kitchen probably did do the thing that Reddit always says, is she probably went to the group chat and they were and she was like, this is crazy. I can't believe they're doing this. And knowing she is one person, she's not part of a union, she probably couldn't take down BA once and for all. And therefore she used a platform that she knew she could get attention and negative attention toward BA, which is TikTok. And in a way, I think she did the best and most she could. It is unfortunately probably the same reason why Justin Baldoni went to Twitter and Reddit first,
Right. I think there's not really much else Meredith can do. And she's just waiting to see if Bon Appetit even acknowledges her. I would hope that she's getting an email from someone. But, in the meantime, her fans are still driving Bon Appetit's Instagram into the ground with their comments. And Meredith, for her part, she's living life. She posted a matcha strawberry latte recipe, a truffle martini recipe, and then over on her FinTalk, she's asking for rug recommendations. This is not taking over her day. She is very much projecting Bon Appetit will not occupy her mind the way that, for instance, Justin and Blake seem to occupy each other's minds all day, every day, rent-free.
Yeah. There's another TikTok comment that I feel inspired something beautiful within my mind. It was a suggestion for Meredith. It said, okay, power move, invite the OG BA test kitchen team, Sola, Molly, Carla, Gabby, etc., to your own dinner with friends.
I 100% agree. And I would just like to also suggest that Wishbone the dog is there.
Wishbone the dog is there. And we call it dinner with enemies. Oh,
perfect. Okay, that's the show. We'll be back in your feed on Saturday, so definitely subscribe. That way you never miss an episode. Please leave us a rating and review in Apple or Spotify and tell your friends about us. You can follow us on Twitter at ICYMI_pod, and you can always drop us a note at ICYMI@slate.com.
ICYMI is produced by Alexandra Botti, Kate Lindsay, and me, Candice Lim. Daisy Rosario is our senior supervising producer, and Hillary Fry is Slate's editor-in-chief. See you online.
Or in Bored Apple Queef's Instagram comments.